Wait, are you live now? Oh, yes, we're live. Hey everyone, good afternoon. I'm excited for today because I have sorted out my internet, so we shouldn't have any internet connection, internet issues. I'm just gonna wait for a couple more people to jump on, and then we can get started. New York session's just opened, so I'm excited to have a look and see what Price has for us. Afternoon, guys. Hi, Caden. Hey, Mark. I'm excited. Today we're doing a giveaway again, so make sure you stay to the very end because that is when I will be doing the giveaway. So, if I end up calling you out and then you've gone, unfortunately, we will just have to give the account to someone else. Hey, Mon. Let's just wait a couple more minutes and then we can jump straight in. I will start sharing my screen so then we can have the charts up as well. So if you guys are new here, just so that you know, I mainly trade gold. So that's what we'll be looking at. I do also like to trade NQ. I'm just having a look at the comments and I'm noticing that my that YouTube is really behind whenever I'm speaking. So let me just get this all up and then we are good to go, guys. We can jump straight in. I'm going to show you exactly how it is that I trade. I'm really happy because this is the account that has been in drawdown for a while and I've actually focused on getting it back into profit. So we are back in the green. But yeah, guys, if you're new here, the way that I trade is very simple. I like pretty much it's price action. I just react to the market rather than trying to predict the market. This week has actually been a really good week. I've actually started to trade NQ a lot more now, which I'm really glad about because for some reason I stopped trading it for a while, kind of fixated on gold, and I think this is why sometimes you can go really wrong when trading gold because there's sometimes that you just can't trade gold, and this is where I feel like a lot of people end up losing money because they're just, if you look at gold right now, this is the 4-hour time frame, and to me, like, this is just consolidation. It's not great. I'm just gonna have a little look and see. I'm pretty sure we have red folder news today. I'm so sorry if I'm a little bit sniffly, guys, because I'm a little bit ill. Okay, so we got red folder news in 20 minutes. It looks like it's the core price index. So not really too sure if it's gonna. I do feel like we're gonna have a little bit more volume. Like London session was completely dead. You can tell like these candles are just doji candles. New York has just opened 10 minutes ago. So it'll be interesting to see where this takes us. Just joined. Hey. But yes, we do have news. So, we'll be on the stream when that actually hits. But obviously, I won't be placing any trades during red folder news. as that does go against the rules. But it will be interesting to see actually where, like, if we actually finally break out this consolidation period, because yesterday was very hard day, I feel like, to trade gold. So I just traded NQ. So let me just show you guys a couple things of the way that I like to trade. So I do like trading breakout of 4-hour or daily trend lines, and that's the only time I will use trend lines, because I do think it works really, really well. But when you start dropping down and doing it on the lower time frames, I think it can be a little bit unreliable. So and obviously price is constantly going up, constantly going down. Like, the way that I would want to trade, like, I don't want to trade loads, I want to actually trade less. So for me, I like the 4-hour and the daily breakouts, but obviously they don't come around all the time. So if this candle was to break out, we'd have to wait for this 4-hour to close for us to consider a 4-hour breakout, basically. If we start dropping down to the 1-hour, you can see we are really, really stuck in this kind of zone. It's very much consolidation. We're breaking this high, we're breaking this low, not getting up there, and you're literally breaking highs, breaking lows, but not really moving in a clear direction. You missed gold longs, Nelson. The rest of the day should be free. Gold at the confidence zone. Yeah, so for me, for gold, we can't, like, I'm not going to be doing anything. I have to make sure that I have clear confirmations on my 4-hour before I can even start dropping down, because this is something that does get a lot of people out. So a lot of people will just start dropping down the time frames to try and force the trades, and I will always go off the higher time frame bias. So if the higher time frame is just not giving you what you need, we need to wait until that is clear. Sorry guys, I just lagged again. Hi Starboy. Hey Jacob. So let's go on to NQ, because NQ I do find sometimes can be quite a lot cleaner. And we'll also have a look. We'll also have a look at silver as well. But saying that, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, yesterday I had a really nice one to. This actually ended up going to 1 to. I came out at like around 1 to 3, went all the way down here, which was like nearly a 1 to 7. But yeah, so I'll talk you through exactly what that trade was yesterday. But yeah, for the minute, I mean, overall, right now, I'd still personally be looking. I'd still be personally looking for sales, unless we broke above this trend line, which then we would be breaking above this high as well. But it does look, again, pretty much like gold. We're entering a little bit of a consolidation zone. So until the 4-hour really gives us what we need. So if we have a look at the 1-hour, obviously, like I said, I'm like right now I'd be looking at sales. But the way that, if you get your bias for the 4-hour, if you drop down to the 1-hour, the 1-hour should tell you now what direction it's going. And as you can see, we're just consolidating. So if we can go and break all of this structure down here and actually start moving down, then I'd be interested in a sell. But this is the 1-hour candle, so we can't be doing anything until these candles actually close. I massively work on candle closures. SP King, hey. Burham, why you scale up in account size? Do you recommend trading the same instrument with more contracts. So Starboy, I'm not doing contracts because this isn't futures. This is forex. Are you trading already? I like personally trading on 50k accounts. They're like my favorite. 50k and 100k accounts, they're my favorite. Do you see any close movement reference with? Yeah, so actually, you'll find that NQ and gold can move quite similar. So all week we've seen a bearish momentum on both of them. So if we have a look here, we started moving down all of this bearish momentum, and then we also got it on NQ. I just find that NQ is a lot cleaner than gold. I feel like a lot of people trade gold. I feel like there's a lot of manipulation going on gold. So when gold isn't playing, I've been switching over to NQ, and I've really just liked the way that it moves. So I'm going to show you guys yesterday. So this was our situation yesterday. We were around this candle. This candle had printed when I took this trade, and then I ended up, taking this candle as that trade there. So I'm just going to explain to you my logic behind it. So for me, I literally trade market structure. So what I mean by market structure is pretty much trading with the trend. So are we going up? Are we going down? So that's the first thing that I'm asking myself. And in a downtrend, we're creating lower lows and lower highs. That for me, visually, tells me we're in a downtrend. So like I said, just imagine that none of this stuff was here when I came on. This candle had printed, and this was the new low that broke this new low, and our new 4-hour high had also been created, which was a higher low. So this is telling me now, we're in the pullback. So this is another thing that you need to understand about market structure is not only are we going up or are we going down, but are we in the pullback or are we in the extension? So let me just show you guys what I mean by this. Oh, actually, we're going down, so okay, so this is the extension where we push and make that lower low, then we pull back, then we make that extension. So as a trader and you're looking for a sell in this trending market, going down obviously, where would you prefer to sell? Down here or up here? Hopefully the answer should be you prefer to sell on the pullback. Bear with me 2 seconds, guys. I'm just gonna let my little sausage dog was just moaning to get out of the room. So but yes, so hopefully most of your answers was you would prefer to enter the sell on the pullback. So literally like this, we're moving down, that's the extension, that's the pullback, that's the extension, that's the pullback, down. So we wanted to enter once that pullback had finished. So we needed to create a 4-hour high before dropping down. I'll answer some of the questions in a second, guys. But yeah, make sure you're liking the stream, sharing the stream, because we're going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the live. So yesterday's trade, like I said, it was really good timing, came on the charts, 4-hour high had been created. So let me just highlight this, then we can drop down and see. There's our 4-hour high. Now if we drop down and see what is happening, we can see that we had, you'll literally be able to see on the lower time frames the pullback happening. We see, you know, we were moving down and then we start to pull back and we see all of this bullish momentum. And basically, once the 1 hour can turn back to being bearish, this is our indication that we can now be entering our trade. So there's our 4 hour and 1 hour high. Then we finally start to get some momentum coming down. We end up creating a tiny bit of structure here. It was a little bit of consolidation here. So what I wanted to do was wait for that 1 hour to close down here, which is what it did. Once this candle had closed, this is now where we can drop down to the 15-minute. So again, here is our 15-minute structure. We see it, you know, break below here. And for me, it's all dependent on, you know, how you want to trade. But when we got a break below here, the way that top-down analysis works is that you're literally trying to make sure you're entering when all the time frames are saying the same thing. So 4 hours saying bearish, 1 hour saying bearish, 15-minute is saying bearish. You know, you can then drop down to your 5-minute, which is what you'll see over here. And sometimes what will happen is that a pullback will start to happen, but it didn't really do that. So what we did was it just started to drop down. It consolidated here for a little bit, but then really broke structure, and then this was my entry point. For me, this was enough. I'm pretty sure as well there was a 5-minute imbalance. Yep, so there's your 5-minute imbalance. Here, and I actually just had my entry at the start of that zone, which is here, and then my stop loss on the other side of the highs here. We only went into drawdown a tiny bit, and then we just completely dropped down, which was, yeah, really nice. So that was the trade from yesterday. I'm going to start reading some of these questions now. Yeah, so what if I move from 50k account to 100k? Should I increase my lot size, or is it smarter just to keep my current sizing? Starboy, it all depends on the way that you trade. I mean, if you are just going to use the same lot size, then you're going to make the same amount of money. So really, is there any point in using a 100k account unless you're going to up your lot size? The whole point in, I guess, using an account that is bigger is so that you can use a larger lot size, so then you can make more money. But it all depends on yourself as a trader. Hey Mo, hey Carlo, thank you so much. Great structure. Thanks for explaining so well. Amazing. Yes, so let me just have a look again what Naz is doing. Like I said, for me, you know, Naz is very close to this trend line. It has really struggled to come and push further down. It's tried to go down twice, and we've had huge rejection. You know, so if we can get a break out of this trend line and above this high, I'm definitely interested in looking for buys on NQ. Is perfectly respecting. Yeah. Yes, it is. I do love trading trend lines, to be honest, but like I said, only on the 4 hour and on the daily. But I usually find that it's usually around the trend lines are kind of the same, to be honest. And then what I'll do is I'll use the 1 hour for my entries. When I'm trading the trend lines, I will never actually go lower than the 1 hour to get my entry. I suppose I could using the whole market structure technique, but yeah, I feel like with trend line trading, you've got to be a little bit subjective. It's like, okay, we've broken the trend line, we've broken structure on the 1 hour. You know, structure is bullish, for example. I'm going in, like not overthinking it too much. Not like, oh, I'm gonna get in on the pullback, because you then have, your safety line, which is the trend line. And the way that I've seen this work really, really well is if you can just be very subjective with it. Hey Danny, thank you so much for being here, guys. Yeah. How did you know? How did I know what? Spax Gaming. Thank you, Vivek. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. Okay, so Mon, it does depend. Like I said, with the trend lines, I won't go lower than the 1 hour to get my entry. But when I'm just trading market structure, so the continuation, so obviously, like, for example, like this is an example here, right? You get a breakout of a 4 hour. I think with trend lines, you've got to really be okay with seeing yourself go into drawdown, because you probably will. It's going to break out, that's going to be the extension, then it's going to pull back, and then you just stay in the trend until it breaks. So that's the idea of a trend line breakout. But if you also know how to trade market structure, you very much can kind of trade the pullback. You just start dropping down. So when we're trading market structure, like I said, we start on the 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, 5 minute. Sometimes I even go as low as the 1 minute, but only to find my entry. Like, I don't care what the bias is on the 5 minute, 1 minute, the 15 minute. I don't care at all. It's all to do with the entry point. Why do you perform? So Caden, I like the higher time frame bias because I want to kind of get these bigger moves. I used to be a scalper, and now I'm definitely trying to transition more into a day trader, so I'm actually holding my positions. So R for swing moves. So the idea of this is to stay in the trade until the trend breaks. So that you can't answer that question, because sometimes the trend can go on for ages. Like, imagine if you were in this trend from the 2nd of September to the 24th. Like, it's one of them things that is like, well, sometimes if this ends up breaking, then we've been in it for a short amount of time. Whereas, like, yeah, sometimes you're going to see like all of these crazy big trends, and that's where you're going to obviously get a very high risk to reward, but you don't always know that's going to happen. But with things like Nasdaq, SP 500, gold, they're always overall bullish, really. So maybe your bullish trend line or like swing trades are going to be a lot more in your R to R than the bearish ones. But yeah, I'm not currently a swing trader, guys, so I will make that very clear. I'd love to be a swing trader, but I don't have it in me to hold positions. Like I said, I started off as a scalper, so having that mentality and that micromanagement when it comes to scalping, you really can't be doing that when you're swing trading. So I'm just not there yet. That is the goal of where I want to be. But right now I day trade. My goal is always like 1 to 2, 1 to 3. That's like my targets. I also quite like well, not quite like, when we go 1-to-1, that's normally when I will make sure that we're break even. But yes, exactly that, Vivek. I'm exactly the same as you. Price action, and the market structure. So we've literally just had um the news come out now, I think, or it's happening right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, anyone who's trading with Think Capital, obviously make sure you are not trading during red folder news. AV Creations, yes, I mainly do trade gold, but when gold isn't playing, I like to look at NQ. But yeah, no, I don't only trade NQ. I also trade silver. I do trade crude oil as well. Sometimes, not a lot though. But yeah, gold, NQ are kind of like my favorites. Danny, okay, how do I manage losses? So this is a really interesting one, guys, because losses are really part of the game, and I think the way to manage them is not to see them in a negative way. As long as you are learning from them, if you're being stupid and just making the same mistakes over and over again and not questioning why it is, you keep losing, then that's silly. But if you take a loss and then you really learn from it, because I'm telling you now, guys, I have learned the most from my losses, never my wins, but when I lose I learn a lot more. So I actually tell my students to see losses as an expense. So just to change the language around losses, because obviously it's quite a negative when you think of losses, like it's not very positive. It seems like quite a negative thing. Whereas if you can see it as, trading is your business and the losses are the expenses. So you have to make those losses to be able to make money, because there's no trader that can trade and not have any losses. So we know that in business we have to spend money to make money. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it's an essential thing, and if that is going to help build my business, then of course we're going to do it. So I want you guys to really think of your losses in the same way. So maybe just changing the language around them and not allowing yourself to spiral out, because again, when you are in that negative headspace, you might end up missing a trade, you might end up emotional trading, revenge trading. All of these things come into play when actually we need to be in the best kind of headspace possible when it comes to trading. Otherwise you will just miss out on the right opportunities. Okay, so gold just looks like, we're not getting that much volume, to be honest. I'm so sorry, guys. I sound so ill. Um, okay, Spax Gaming. How to make your psychology strong in trading. There's no such thing as trading psychology, guys. Like, I'm going to be so real with you. To get good at trading, your mindset, your psychology has to be good outside of trading. Honestly, the way that you trade will be a reflection of who you are. And this is why so many people actually really, really struggle to trade, because they love to blame everything else around them. It's the markets, it's this, and they're probably like that in real life without even meaning to be like that. So I'm not trying to speak badly on anyone here or anyone at all, because I've been there. I used to blame the weather, I used to blame my employer. It's always someone else's fault. Like I could never take responsibility. So when it came to trading, for ages I was going round and round in circles, because it had to be the technique, it had to be the strategy, when actually it really isn't about that. How to get your psychology good, you have to work on yourself outside of trading. Start to really, really get to know yourself. When you are taking those losses, I know you've probably heard it a million times before, but journal, not just like, okay, I took a loss, but what happened? Why? If you were emotional about it, why were you emotional? What was the trigger here? You know, what is your relationship like with money? Because at the end of the day, you're playing with money. So if you have a very bad relationship with money, I promise you're not going to make money in trading. And I'm talking from experience. I'm never talking down to you guys. I'm literally talking from experience. I've been there where I've struggled, and I still sometimes struggle. You know, it's one of them things that we have to constantly and keep working on ourselves, because everyone's so fixated on the strategies when actually what they should be fixated on is the psychology side. Okay, so higher time frame is mostly clear, and yes, higher time frame will give you your overall bias. I'm literally using the lower time frames pretty much purely for my entries. On a 100k account, is it smarter to stick with micros for psychology or switch to full? So it just depends where you are, SB King. You know, if you haven't traded before really with a 100k account, if you're not used to seeing those kind of numbers, be safe. Trade safe before, you know, when I first was introduced to the prop firm space, I literally went all in and was like, I want a 200k account, and never in my life had I been playing with that kind of money or seen those kind of figures. So I just went, I couldn't control the emotion, and at the end of the day, happiness, excitement, like these are all emotions. We need to be as robotic as possible when it comes to actually trading. Now, I'm not here to say that you should pretend to have no emotions, because that's impossible. This is where I see a lot of people go wrong as well. We pretend that we don't have the emotion, and then all that happens is we go around in circles, and then eventually the emotion breaks free, and then you spiral out of control. What you want to do is have systems in place. Make sure you have a system for your strategy. And what I mean by system is like step by step. This, and this. I'm not going to trade unless all of these things tick. And then you should also have a system in place of, okay, right, I'm starting to feel FOMO, I can feel urges, I can feel this impulse. What is your system to take you out of that? Is it to go on a walk? Is it to go to the gym? If you're like super excited, what is your system to make sure your ego doesn't take over and tell you now you're a great trader, you know best, and you're going to beat the market? What are you going to do to control these things? And the first kind of step to it, like all I can say, guys, is become extremely aware of it. I know sometimes this stuff doesn't really seem that relevant, but I promise you, it really, really is. What's your biggest loss and how? Okay, my biggest loss was actually on a live account, and that hurt. I entered during Red Folder News, and it literally moved so fast I couldn't even put a stop loss on. And I was so convinced that it was going to go back up the other way, because a lot of the time in Red Folder News, it will go like down one way, like 300 pips, and then shoot back up the other way. I was so convinced, and it honestly dropped to like 200 pips, dropped to 300, 4. I think it dropped like, oh my God, it literally makes me feel sick remembering that, because it was live money. And that trade in itself, it wasn't even a clever, you know, it wasn't part of the system. It was an emotional trade. It was FOMO trade of like fear of missing out. And I've actually done so much work and research into why we get these feelings of fear of missing out, fear of losing out on money, and it goes so much deeper, guys. It's so much deeper than you realize. No worries at all, Bon. No, so Danny, the only thing that I trade is literally gold, NQ, silver. Sometimes I will look at crude oil. I don't really ever trade S&P 500, but yeah, I don't feel like I need to trade too many different things, to be honest. Okay, so do you only trade forex or I to be honest, I trade more like commodities. Um I don't really trade currency pairs. I don't really know why, but again, like I was saying, like I just don't feel like I really need to. Gold gives me a lot of opportunities. When gold isn't playing, I feel like NQ works really well. So yeah, I just don't feel like I need to confuse myself by adding in all these other things because I like gold and NQ because they move very similar. I do think it's very important that whatever it is that you are trading, you get to know inside out. And this is why if I was trading like 20 different things and all these currencies, like it would be quite confusing for me to really get to know it all. Um Hello. I hold trade for 8 hours normally. It can be fun. Amazing. And yes, so swing trading is definitely something, like I said, that I want to get into. Yes, you can hold trades overnight with Think Capital. So right now, my view on gold is there's no real bias. We got to wait for this 4 hour to close. If it has closed, we're kind of broken out of this 4 hour trend line. But yeah, this is the death zone, guys. Like this is where so many people will be trying to force their trades, and I've been there, and all you do is just end up losing money. So yeah, you just want to make sure before even thinking about getting into a trade, your 4 hour gives you what you need from it. There's no point us dropping down and trying to get in because that's not the way that I trade. I need a clear bias for the 4 hour, and right now I literally could not tell you if this is going up or if it's going down right now. It's literally consolidating. Let's have a little look at NQ. Okay, looks like we could be breaking out. Like I said, if you look at NQ compared to gold, you'll find that NQ is just a lot cleaner. Like if NQ closed out like this, I would enter this as a buy, as a 4 hour breakout, because as well this broke structure on the 4 hour, so I'm sure the 1 hour would then also look bullish, and that's as far as I would go down for the breakout of the trend line. And then, you know, yeah, we got to wait for all the structure to form. And then this is ideally, if I was a swing trader, what I would then do is obviously hold my position, wait for it to extend, wait for it to pull back, enter another buy position, and then kind of continue the process. Um, yes, news has been released. Danny, I've traded on and off now for 8 years, but properly for the last 2 years. Um, yes, exactly that. We have to spend money to make money. Like I said, don't just go crazy with your with your expenses, with your losses. They have to be valid. Like I said, like there's nothing wrong with making a loss as long as you are learning from that loss and you're not just repeating the cycle over and over again. Not the news release. I can find it. Yeah. Is gold going up? Right now I have no idea. XAU might want to continue up. Like I said, if you watch NQ and gold, they look quite similar, but NQ will look a lot cleaner. So gold's been coming down, but it's had all of this like manipulation with it, whereas like NQ is literally just moved so smoothly. Like you can't get cleaner than this kind of market structure here. So if we just broke above here, that would be my indication for a buy. What's stopping you? So Vabe have. I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. So what's stopping me from trading a 200k account? So for me, I have always struggled when it comes to money. And like I said, guys, this all goes so much deeper. And I am and haven't ever been good with money. I've always been chasing money. I've always had a lack of money. So when I trade with things like 200K and I see those kind of numbers, what it promotes is greed because I'm not used to it. So what I'm trying to do is build up that tolerance, do my 50K accounts, do my 100K accounts, allow myself to really feel those emotions of greed and then put systems in place to overcome them because there's a reason for feeling these things. And I don't want to be going around in circles. I know I will be able to trade with a 200K account when I'm there, and then we can scale, then we can have multiple. But for me right now, from being someone that really really struggled with money my whole life to now finally having, for me, I was able to give up my business, trade full time now, and just be financially free. In some ways I'm not financially free in too much to how I want to be. I'm very comfortable, but I came from nothing. So it's I'm in a very good place, but I'm just not there yet, and I learned that the hard way. So I'm just building it all up now. So I've been trading for literally on and off for 8 years. Didn't really make progress with it until the last 2 years. So it took me time, but it doesn't mean that it will take you that much time because everyone's journey is so different. Because I had a lot of ego problem, a lot of mindset problems. If you can drop all of that and just surrender to the market, go and get yourself a mentor so that you can speed up the process. Yours doesn't need to take you that long. Um, we must have good relation. Yes, 100%. Danny, you have to have a really good relationship with money to be able to consistently make money in the markets. And surprisingly, many of us actually don't. And when I say good relationship, I don't just mean, I mean, all of us here probably absolutely love money, right? We all want to make money. Like that is the goal. No one's going to sit here and say that they hate money, but that's not what I mean by relationship with money. Because I'll give you an example. For me, growing up, I relate money to stress because that's what I saw within my family. So when you relate money to stress, you naturally will just repel it. If you see it in a negative way from when you are very young, you will naturally just not want it. And I can't even go into it because it's like a rabbit hole, and it's just like a long process. But yeah, you honestly do not believe you can stay consistent in trading unless you have a very good relationship with money. So what do I use to journal? I actually just use Excel, to be honest. I've tried loads of different things. I'm very like old school with everything. Like I would love to journal writing it down, but then I want it to be on my laptop because I don't want to have to write it and then have to put it onto the laptop. So yeah, pretty much just Excel for me. Can you please suggest where and what things we need to write down? Okay, so in terms of what, you obviously want to be able to track the trade. So when you entered, what you made, what you lost, you will then want to go into detail why you took that trade. And then maybe journal, if it was a losing trade, journal on the reasons why you took that trade. Can you see where you went wrong? And this is where you're going to do so much learning, guys. But yeah, really as well, journal on how you feel when you made that loss. Do you feel angry? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel anything? Really journal on that because this is where you start to really get to know yourself. Did you instantly want to just jump straight back in? Get to know yourself, guys. Like I honestly cannot preach that enough. Um SP King, I feel like you've asked that so many times, so I'm not going to repeat that again because I feel like it's just the same question over and over again. Do you have any type of checklist? Yes. Yes. Let me read it out to you guys. I've actually got it here. So for my trend line strategy, trend line breakout on the 4 hour or the daily. So we got to wait until the candle closes. So for example, I'm like, this is a 4 hour trend line. I can't just take it because it's out here. We need a 4 hour closure. So until we get our 4 hour closure, that's our first thing. Then we can drop down to the 1 hour and make sure the 1 hour, the bias is the same as the 4 hour. If it is, you can then enter. Okay, and now if you're trading market structure, so my first thing is use the 4 hour for your bias. Are we in the pullback or the extension? If we're obviously in the extension, we have to wait for the pullback. If the 4 hour bias isn't really giving you like a clear direction, like let's go back to gold for a second, like right until this closes, you know, all of this, there's no clear direction. So there's no point dropping down the time frames until our 4 hour has given us what we need. And obviously with a 4 hour, you can only check it every 4 hours, so you don't need to be glued to your screen. Once the 4 hour has now given you what you need, this is now where we can drop down to the 1 hour. So the 1 hour must line up with the 4 hour. So if it doesn't, that's our next step. We have to wait until the 1 hour is the same bias as the 4 hour. And then you ask yourself the same question: are we in the pullback or the extension of the 1 hour? If we're in the extension, we obviously need to wait for the pullback of the 1 hour, which we can then drop down to the 15-minute, and you'll see it probably going in the opposite direction or maybe consolidating. And again, we basically just have to wait until the 15-minute lines up. So it's literally just a process. We're now waiting on the 15-minute to line up. Once the 15-minute is also saying the same as the 4 hour, the 1 hour, this is now when we can drop down to the 5-minute. And this is as well, this is all it is. We are now waiting on the 5-minute to be going in the same direction as all of the other time frames. So let's say we're going bullish, we wait for it to go bullish. You'll probably see it's then going to be in an extension because we've broken out of a 5-minute high, and that's going to be your extension. What we then want to do is then use an imbalance on the 5-minute or the 1-minute, and see, you know, that could be your entry point of where price could pull back to. And then I like to have my stop loss on the other side of the 15-minute lows or the highs, obviously depending which way you're going. But yeah, it's like very, very, you know, I've got a system, and that's basically it. So when I'm doing top-down analysis, it's literally we're just waiting for all the time frames to add up. Like, we don't need to overcomplicate things, guys. Can you suggest where? Okay, I think I've done replied to that. Hey Kian. 100%. Less is definitely more in trading, guys. Trading is so hard, right? Because it's like the only thing in life where I feel like everything that you have to throw out the window and do the opposite. It's just crazy. But I didn't realize it's actually 5 minutes until 2. So I'm actually going to start I'm gonna start the giveaway. But thank you for all the questions and everyone who has been engaged. So Tony, I've received a message. So Tony, I've just seen that you are on here. I've had multiple accounts saying that they're all you. So I'm not actually too sure which one you are. If you can reply to me on here what your Instagram name is, I can then realize which is the real Tony, because I feel like there's been some sneaky people on here trying to pretend to be you to then end up getting a free account. Right, guys, so let's go. I've got my eyes shut. First winner we've got is Pin the Market. Pin the Market, are you here? Just gonna wait. Pin the Market. Pin the Market. First winner. So actually both people screenshotted the YouTube. So yeah, I don't know. They could easily just change the name. Okay, so are you still here? He's not here. Okay, thank you so much for sharing on your story. Okay, I'm gonna give him some time. If not, then we'll obviously make sure 3 are given away. Oh, okay. Vape. Okay, Vape have. Vape. Yes, there you are. You're there. I can see you. Vape have. So I'm hoping I did just see your name. Yes, you did win. Vape have. So my winners, what you need to do is contact me on Instagram. It's Doughy Trades. Let me know as well if you can hear what your Instagram name is, so then I know that it's going to be you. But yes, you are our first winner, as my other person has not responded. So yeah, Vahab. I feel like it's more Vahab, but yes, you are my first winner. Just contact me on Instagram. Okay, our next one, Spax Gaming. Spax Gaming. There we are. You're here, Spax Gaming. We got a winner. Amazing. Okay, right. I'm just gonna screenshot. Okay, no, that's not. I've screenshot the wrong thing. But yes, guys, you're gonna have to contact me on Instagram, Doughy Trades, Spax Gaming. Perfect. I can see that you're there. Please, contact me on Instagram. Congratulations. Right, last winner, because our first person did not claim their prize. So I'm going to go all the way up. So obviously, I know some people are spamming, which is fine, but I'm going all the way up so that everyone has a chance. Oh. Oh. Okay, we're going to have to redo that, guys. I'm gonna have to redo that because the whole thing just went off. Okay, we're redoing that. Last giveaway for this week is going to. There we go. SP King. SP King. So if you don't respond, we'll have to give it away. SP King. Just waiting on. Oh, he's there or she. I'm not too sure. I'm assuming. Yes, you are our final winner for this week. Yeah, guys, make sure you just contact me on Instagram. It's just Doughy Trades. I think there's multiple accounts of me, so the only account that is mine is the one with the blue tick, so that everyone knows that all the other accounts, they are fake. So yes, we got our 3 winners. Well done, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Love all of you guys being here. And we'll be back again next week doing more giveaways and giving more value. But yeah, really, really appreciate you guys sharing and getting the word out there. But yeah, I'm gonna love and leave you all now, and just have the most amazing weekend. Remember to trade safely, and we'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.